Welcome! We are live to another session of Bardic Inspiration. This is Dungeons & Dragons in Shakespearean Style, brought to you by Sooth Players, creators of the show Completely Improvised Shakespeare here in Melbourne. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening or on our YouTube channel later in the week. My name is Adam Hembry. I'll be your DM for the evening, and with me this evening are the Headless Marys. Who I'll just quickly name down the line. You don't have to say hi or anything afterwards in the sort of play school style we did last time. That is Elizabeth playing Avery. We've got Brenna playing Barwin, our cleric. Pedro playing Buckle, our fighter. Ryan playing Caliban, our rogue. And Mel playing Rav, our bard. Joining us a little bit later in the evening will be John Mark, our Firbolg druid Adrig. So we'll look forward to him arriving. Welcome. Last time on Bardic Inspiration, or I should say really for the last 10 day or more in game time, the Headless Marys have been racing down the Lewin River with hot pursuit by a band of assassins from an organization known as the Four Winds. They have been hunted because they have been harboring in secret a golden baby dragon, Alda, whom they have kept below decks as they bullet boated southward towards a only vaguely known destination to all but Avery, who had been there before. And last session, you finally arrived after some business at the town of Halefort, and you had quite a time, especially in the second half of our session. I will leave it to you to remind us all and yourselves what happened 2 weeks ago. So if you wouldn't mind chucking 2 minutes on a timer, I think Mel was going to do that.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Great, thank you. Then I will turn it over to you. Go.
Bertram died. R.I.P. Bertram.
We
were attacked in the cave.
Is he actually dead?
Okay.
I don't know. Basically, we delivered the package, and then we were attacked somehow, despite insanely high perception rolls the entire way. Somehow, we were still ambushed, and after a pretty significant battle, we tore them to shreds, with the exception of one invisible mage who has possibly made a run for it. We're not too sure at this point. And I think there was one other that maybe ran away too.
We found Alda's, one of Alda's guardians, and she appears to be in a coma underwater. Not breathing, but totally fine. Not sure why yet, that is.
And
Alda did some damage.
Yeah.
And took quite a bit too.
And took damage. Yeah, and Padrig's currently unconscious.
Yeah, he's not doing so hot.
Yeah.
And we've just leveled up.
Yeah.
Oh, and importantly, we lost Yori.
Oh yeah.
One of our
Oh, yeah, I guess that was last week. Yeah.
Yori Swift Whistle has disappeared in the night despite Rav's best efforts to find her, and she's gone.
She joined a Kentucky.
That's canon.
Yeah. I would love that if that was just a thing, though. Can that be canon? Like, honestly, that Kentucky tours are a thing in this world.
30 seconds left.
Also, Rav has a dead fish in his pants.
Usually you refer to it as a tail, I thought. Thank you for that, Headless Marys. Look, I'll have to check in with Louise about Yori's existing or non-existent Kontiki. That is going to be up to Yori.
I don't even mind if Yori's not on the Kontiki tour, just that they exist. Just that they are a thing. Yeah.
Hey, this is a world where there are dragons and demons.
Yeah.
Why not? There can be a Kontiki side campaign.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Headless Marys. You did have a hell of a combat last campaign before leveling up, and it dropped a couple of you to within inches of your lives.
Yeah.
You got a
And then some
nasty
of us
cone
leveled
of
up, and now we're fine.
yeah, you're better anyway.
Yeah, I still
Um,
only have 7 hit points. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and Podrick is in rough shape, lying there in the water. And yeah, as was mentioned, Bertram was frozen by this cone of cold.
Oh,
It
that's right.
Seems
Yeah.
taken out of action. To that end, I'd like to open on the Golden
I thought you were
Cave.
going to say roll initiative.
Yeah.
Reroll initiative. Time to double trouble you. Don't think I wouldn't.
Just trying with my flowchart.
It's the cave around you. You find yourselves in. You realized last session that everywhere that Veila, Alda's former guardian and one of her guardians, whenever Veila or Alda treads across the ground in this cave where there's knee-deep water circling around it, there's golden light shimmering from underneath their steps and wherever they lie. You also found that when Barwin blew the horn of the huntress, it worked, and that crystals all over the walls of the inside of the cave glowed with a gleaming light. You also had a bit of a moment when Alda came to Veila just before your fight and placed her paw on Veila's arm and hand. Both of their eyes gleamed with golden light, and Alda came back befuddled and stunned and said that she had seen her mother. And that was when we rolled initiative because Tristan rocked up. So these are all things that have just recently happened. Right now, you have just swung your last swing of that rapier Caliban, realizing that you can't find whoever it was, and Alda has just screamed out in pain, saying that someone did something to her wound. And she is clutching her ribcage, where there are a number of wounds from the arrows that thudded into her, and there's still some like blackened, necrotic flesh below the scales that are peeling through from the poison that seems to have worked its way through her. And one of those wounds is now bleeding all the fresher. One of the assassins sprinted away right at the end of the last turn and is still making their way down that tunnel, and it is a good way from you by now, but was running. And you've seen no sign of the invisible mage. They moved at least 90 feet from their position before, so they are somewhere in that vicinity distance away. What are you going to do, Headless Marys?
I can hit them. My longbow has a range of 100.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, at this point, so Avery, if you want to try to position yourself where you can see down the tunnel, you can just make out the retreating figure of someone who is slogging their way through the knee-deep water at a dead sprint, and they are just silhouetted against the seascape outside. You gonna take the shot?
Do it.
I'm going to take a shot, and I'm going to use Elven Accuracy, so I get... Do I have advantage?
Well, okay. Time to test what we were just talking about with all your little features.
Yeah.
What can you do to achieve advantage and therefore trigger Elven Accuracy? I think you have a feature that will let you.
I mean, I can use my assassin feat, and they'll be surprised, or they don't know that the attack's coming, right?
So rather than surprised, because they were just leaving a fight, so they definitely know that you're there. At this point, you can use your bonus action to take steady aim. You don't actually necessarily need to reposition yourself because you were back center of the cave and the entrance is front center. So this is like Avery has already just stood up from all that business before and getting out of the way of the cone of cold. You can take your shot.
All right, and also I'm going to apply Sharpshooter to this.
Okay,
Does
so
anyone
take
want to
5.
give a Bardic Inspiration, for example?
Anyone?
Anyone? Does anyone? Yeah, I will.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, Rav strums his little lute and he goes, "You can do it, girl."
All right, so you take 5 off of the attack roll, but you can add a d8 from Rav's Bardic Inspiration to the d20 roll. So it's a bit of a lot.
Alrighty, let's see what this is.
Ooh, that's a lot. Oh, I see. So take the best of those 3. Oh, rough luck. So don't worry about all that. You got a 2 on the d8, and 11 was your best. So
Yeah.
that's 13 plus whatever your usual modifier is, minus 5.
15 plus 8.
So 13 plus 3 for sharpshooter is
Yeah.
16. which is exactly what you needed to hit one of these. I
Alright.
believe that. Okay. Yep. Roll your damage.
And that is plus 15. And then I also get that my sneak attack after.
Yeah.
Hey.
23 points of damage.
Plus sneak attack. What's that? 4-6?
4d6, yeah.
Yeah.
So is 23 your total for all that?
No.
23 is just without sneak attack.
Oh, your humble pardon. I do pray you.
14 and 23. That's
Mhm.
37.
37. Okay. Avery. You loose the arrow down the straight tunnel that leads out of this cave. And for a moment, the silhouette ahead of you is still just framed in the light and in the end of this distance. It's still standing. And it drops.
Take that, Sam.
You
Bowen's
have
going
hit
to
your
cast
target.
Mass Healing Word if there's time now.
Whoa.
Yeah, you are out of initiative, so at this point, if one of you has an action or anything you want to take, you can just let me know.
I want to go steal that guy's wallet.
Which guy?
Tristan.
Down.
You're surrounded by corpses at the moment.
Tristan would be the one to have a look at, I would say.
Fine.
Rav steals Botram's wallet.
Don't leave Botham alone.
Bowen's going to target Padrig, Bertram, herself, Avery, Alda. How many is that?
That's 6.
Those people.
Okay.
Well, Buckle, we're chopped liver. It's okay, I've got 22.
Oh, I
Okay.
thought you'd be okay. So it's 1d4 plus my modifier. All right. Mhm. So 8 points
All right.
for those people.
Noted.
I now have 15 HP. Thank you.
For those of you who were mentioned, please add 8.
Does this mean Podrick won't die?
It does mean that Podrick is now conscious.
Yay!
Yay!
Actually, need to make a note to add that to
What
Podrick's
about
sheets so that I will let you know.
Okay.
Let me just pull up
Dead.
Podrick's
Yeah.
sheet so that when John Mark gets here, that will be apparent to him.
You heal the ice around Bertram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like thinking, like, if I lit a torch and like held it next to him, would that make him melt? Or would it make the ice around him melt? Is he like physically ice?
Or magic.
Or
So-
is he just, is he a block of ice? Do you know what I mean?
So this all happens really quickly. So
Yeah.
like as Avery is like standing forward to take her shot, Caliban is like swiping to try to get this retreating mage, and then realizing that no one's there, and Barwin is getting up and beginning this spell. So Podrick and Bertram have basically been out of commission for like moments, like just a few seconds really at this point. Podrick, who dropped down onto the ground next to that water, is just like suddenly jolting up and looking around, and I imagine dry heaves almost instantly.
Okay.
And then Bertram, who had not become like a block of ice external to himself, had like frosted all over his face and was beginning to like ice crystals are like forming all over his skin and closing over his eyes and nostrils and mouth. And as soon as the healing magic from Barwin's spell touches him, a lot of the ice remains, but the vital areas around the mouth and nose and eyes crack, and life returns to his veins. And he takes this gasp of air, like choking almost, and kind of rises up on one arm, looking around with almost fevered eyes. And then he looks down to Veila. picks her up and realizes that she seems to still be all right, and looks to you, Avery, standing over him with the longbow, and says, "Are we safe? Have they gone?"
No, they're still here.
But we are safe.
We're safe. We got the upper hand. Some escaped, but we're okay.
It was so cold. What? Who is here?
The Four Winds, Tristan. Tristan and his lot, and then an invisible mage who froze you.
Who froze more than me? He looks around and sees that there are a few of the Four Winds assassins who are lying frozen.
That's right.
Some of them who actually have their feet frozen into the water where they were standing, and their bodies have totally frozen themselves. But the hot water that is surrounding in the cave has begun to melt the bottom parts of that ice already, and there's steam rising from their bodies where they stand as they are slowly beginning to thaw from the bottom up. But they are very much frozen and dead. Those that are behind. Tristan's corpse is on the ground, not far from where you're standing, and the back part of Tristan, where he fell, is definitely kind of frosted over. But he's lying face down on the ground, so the front of him is less frozen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start pickpocketing now.
No, I just found Tristan.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
well,
gonna just
Avery's
take one of the other
got
one.
Tristan. Sure,
Yeah,
Caliban, you
that's
make a survey. Both of you can make investigation checks.
Is Tristan wearing any kind of heavy armor, or what's his armor's deal?
So you knew his armor class from before, which I believe was either 16 or 17, whatever it
Yeah.
was I told you. Tristan is wearing what appears to be studded leather armor of some kind.
Okay.
Avery with a 21.
Nah.
Oh, almost.
Man, that was a ride.
15 for
Right.
Caliban. Okay, let me pull up my info here. Okay, Avery, we'll start with yours. Tristan, you realize, although frozen up the back, is wearing a very fine set of studded leather armor of some description. The closer you look, you would realize... Where'd you go? Here we are. That this armor looks like it has been specially treated. Not necessarily the same way yours has, that Bertram has given you, but this is no ordinary set of armor. It seems utterly undamaged. There's no like scratches. The ice, even where it has frozen over, it doesn't seem to have warped or damaged it with water. There's no kind of usual swelling that you get from leather clothing. Yeah, there's no signs of wear and tear. It definitely seems fancy. You also see Caliban with a 15, which, lucky for you, one of the assassins that you loot, you'll notice that the other two that are here present also have just normal studded leather on. But one of the assassins also has, on the inside of her wrist, a strange sort of metal circlet or an armband that is made of a kind of steel, it seems like, possibly, but it also has been artificially clouded and made darker. Taking it, you can see that it has a clasp that's relatively simple, and you can undo it. But when you do so, you can see that on the inside of the armband, there is a small hidden blade.
Like Ezio Albatore.
Precisely. And if you hold it up, you can see that if you put your thumb through a hoop of a triggering mechanism, you can flick it like that, and the blade shoots out straight up. And then you can you can pull a lever on the outside front that will retract it back in. It's meant to.
Claws.
Yeah.
Does anyone want that?
That is a hidden blade.
Of
Avery,
course, you treat it like Spider-Man.
He said it was the thumb. I'm doing my thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was making a sound like the webs.
Yeah.
only so many shooting weapon sounds you can make with your mouth, I guess.
True.
Although not couldn't limit your creativity.
Hidden blade.
Indeed, a hidden blade. Now that might not be in our D&D Beyond at the moment, but I can rig it up if it isn't. It is in one of the source books, but I don't think I've enabled that. Yeah, the other two have studded leather. They each have pouches on them, which if you're looting the rest of those, Ryan, around the side, there's a total of 150 gold pieces between the lot.
Yeah.
And each one also has a basic dagger, a short sword, basic dagger, a short sword, and they have short bows with quivers of arrows. And also, each of them has 2 vials of basic poison. Tristan also has 2 vials of basic poison on him, Avery.
Okay, cool. Mine.
As well
how
as
many were there total in terms of the vials?
so there would be 6.
6 vials.
Yes.
Okay.
Avery, is
I
it
might,
worth? Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Are there questions that thou hast for Tristan? Or if it would be useful to you, I could bring him back to life.
What?
Wow.
Diamond, that it would not be a waste, but only if you think it would be useful.
It would be temporary, right, Barwin?
Well, we would make that choice.
You also only have a minute for that feature, which you would know,
so
Barwin.
real quick. Yeah.
Your minute is elapsing right now. This is all happening quickly. So
Okay, what do we think as a group? Should we bring him back to life and pump him for
Are you
information?
saying spend a diamond?
Yes.
Only
Yeah, nah.
I have
Nah. Diamonds are a finite resource. There's plenty of rogues in the world.
but not
to
once in
die.
an organization like the Four Winds.
I'm in favor of it, but only if we are sure that we can keep hold of him. He must be chained before he is revived.
I think it would be a mighty shame to waste a diamond on a man such
you
as
got
he.
15 seconds.
Well, it's your call, Avery.
I don't know. Somebody else make a choice.
10 seconds.
Rob, make a
do it.
choice.
Do
I'll
it.
stay when you-
Do it.
Okay.
That's
then
one less
grab-
diamond around for us to use on Botram.
He's face down at the moment. I grab his hands behind
Wait, he's
him.
naked first. I take all his clothes.
Yeah, you want to all of his clothes,
All
every
of
single
them. I want
Okay.
him to feel ashamed of himself.
his corpse. Okay. All right. In that case, Avery, you have taken possession of. Make sure I'm right about this. It is a set of glamored studded leather.
Oh, I have 2 of them now?
Yeah, that's exactly what you are wearing currently. So, yep, that's another set of that. There's John Mark.
Hey!
Always give it out. So 150
Hello.
divided by how many of it are there?
Bowen heals you,
there.
you're safe.
Yeah, so I reflected your character sheet to have a few extra hit points there, John Mark. Hopefully that shows up.
Would
Um,
anybody like that
nine,
glamour studded leather armor?
So everyone can add 25 gold too.
For the record, glamored studded leather allows you to speak a command word and cast disguise self on yourself, basically, with it. So you can change your appearance using the armor. It's also a +1 studded leather armor, so it increases your AC by 1 on top of what it normally would be with that armor on.
You say add 25 gold?
Mhm.
Hey, thanks
You
for the
didn't-
HP, Barwin. I mean, you
Welcome, Patrick.
could have given more, but that's okay.
But no thanks for the gold, just the HP.
She cast a mass healing word. It has its limits, although it's a great spell.
I'm
6
awake
or 7
now.
at you at
Is that
once.
right?
You are conscious, Podrick. Welcome. You have basically blearily just woken up, stumbling up, having just been taken down by this blast of freezing cold, and almost as quickly brought back up. you are surrounded by frost on the ground and on your compatriots around you. Many of them still have flecks of ice crystals on their clothing and skin, even though they're moving around. Bertram is looking much worse for the wear, although he was just revived himself, just like you. Standing on the outskirts, there are two of the assassins who were frozen in place by this spell and are gradually beginning to thaw from the feet up where they stand as the hot water below is slowly melting the ice that they have become. Avery also just took a shot over your head with her longbow and dropped one of the retreating assassins who had sprinted out at the end of last session. As for the invisible mage, you have no further intelligence at this time of where they are or what they're doing.
All right. How exciting.
But we're gonna Pinocchio a dead guy.
As in, we're gonna put his father in a whale?
Yeah. That's everyone's first point of reference for we're gonna Pinocchio.
Oh, we're gonna turn him into a puppet. Ah, okay, cool.
While this is happening, Bowen's going to start casting Prayer of Healing, which will in 10 minutes.
Okay. So you're gonna hang there for a sec.
Where do we add our gold to on our sheet?
Under
I always
inventory,
found
there's a currency label, I think, under inventory or equipment, where you can click that and add gold pieces, silver, platinum, or electrum.
Also,
We haven't
I
used
have
electrum.
6 vials of poison. Would you like them, Patrick?
Yes, please.
Okay, they're yours.
6 vials, did you say?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Of poison.
Yep.
Yeah.
And does anyone
Would
have
anyone-
really, really cool armor?
Me.
You want it, Raph?
Yeah, who's low on who's got a low AC?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mine's
you're the
mine's at
candidate.
14. Is that low?
Ooh.
Hmm.
Your AC or your HP?
My
AC.
Oh, my
Your
AC is
DC?
14 as well.
Yeah. I reckon.
Okay,
I
let's
can
roll
roll
for it, Podrick.
I reckon.
See then.
I mean, there's
If you beat that, it's yours.
Are you rolling for it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
you got a 14. That's a sign.
you gotta roll. There you go.
oh.
I think it makes sense though that it went that way.
There are also 2 other sets of studded leather armor, which if any of you are wearing just basic leather armor, it is one AC point better than
Oh,
regular
well, I'm
leather
going
armor.
to do that.
I don't think
I've
I'm wearing
got this-
armor. I'm wearing anything.
I'm just wearing. Oh, I'm not wearing armor at all because I got braces of defense.
Are they
yeah.
basic poison vials?
Yep.
So yeah, I'm just going to wear my braces. I think because that's +2.
So there's an extra set of studded leather to go around if anyone wants that.
Does anyone want it? I'll take it.
Go for it.
Ooh, I'm a stud now. All right. Is it studded leather armor?
That's the one.
Was it supposed to change my AC?
Yep. It should bump it up by 1.
It did not.
That's interesting. Maybe
Um,
you have
Have you
another-
equipped it yet?
Yeah.
No,
You might have to
equipped
attune to it if it says that. I'd have to look at the item to be sure. Some items require you to
I
wear
don't
them for
think
about
it
an hour.
does.
Oh, I just had
Yeah.
normal leather armor on, not studded
Mhm.
ones.
Yeah.
Now I'm.
We got the mage as well, didn't we?
You
No.
did not.
No,
Okay.
He disappeared.
The mage is on the run.
Adam wouldn't let us do that.
You tried. You tried.
Yeah, I did try.
You can counterspell.
Yeah. Yeah,
Adam looked-
that
Adam
really
looked
would have done
at
it.
the clock and made a call.
Yeah. Hey.
Actually, I'm gonna run out and just check on the boat.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
You're gonna
you guys
sprint
are
across
doing
the
that
water
stuff.
surface in your
Yeah,
Caliban
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
All right. Caliban, make a perception check.
Okay. No, you piece of.
13. Okay. Caliban, you can see that the headless dairy / Headless Mary is moored where you left it.
Yeah.
That is the main thing that you can see. You can also see, however, Dulcie, who was not inside the cave with all of you, but has been caught in a net and is bound and lying at the shore next to some rocks, and she is struggling mightily, just like really just like ripping and tearing at these ropes trying to get out, and she is stuck and very distressed.
I'm gonna go and check that out, but also check for traps before I cut her out.
Okay, make an investigation check of this enraged netted cat creature.
Yeah.
Watch your fingers.
Yeah.
Okay, 23. As best you can tell, you're quite confident that this is just normal weighted rope that has been sort of thrown bola style and meshed itself around in a circle, and it's just like the sort of thing you hunt large birds with to bring them down at relatively close range.
All right, I'm gonna try and let it out.
Okay.
Let her out.
Yeah, you can do so either by, well, this depends. How do you want to let her out? You could destroy the net if you like, or you can try to kind of undo it.
I want to keep that net.
I figured you might.
Yeah, I'm gonna just try and untangle it.
Okay.
And if possible, I'd like to calm Dulcie.
Okay. Make an animal handling check.
Yeah.
It will affect.
You have advantage on that because you're a bird.
No.
How rude.
If anything, would it be disadvantage because she's a cat?
Hey.
Hey.
Wow.
All right, Ryan. I'm gonna leave you some leeway here.
Yeah.
This animal handling check, you're going to manage to soothe Dulcie absolutely perfectly. How do you think Caliban would do that? What would that interaction be like? What would Caliban do?
I would probably mimic like a soothing, like the soothing sounds of a cat, like a purr or something, to kind of set it at ease.
How would you do that?
Yeah, can you tell?
I just told you how.
What does it sound like? What does that sound
Yeah.
like?
I've got to explain to you all, I don't actually have the skills of mimicry that my character does. So when I just say that I'm doing something, I'm just doing it, okay?
You begin your purring sound, and with that uncanny, if there were an observer to see, you can just slightly open your beak, but the perfect imitation of the sound of a purr emanates from you. And after a moment or two of doing this up close, Dulcie, first with like alarm, stares at you with that wide-eyed cat stare. And then you see her eyes, pupils slowly reduce as she recognizes you. And then cocks her head to the side, perplexed, as though she is understanding what you're saying. And then she unclenches her claws from the rope of the net where she had them buried, and then just kind of lapses to the side,
Darling.
and just looks up at you, waiting expectantly.
Scratch her belly.
I just do my best to untangle her and let her out of the net.
Yeah, I think because you've managed to calm her down, you won't have to roll for this. It'll be a matter of, it's basically just like these weights attached to their various sort of web rope tangles have like spun around each other. And so you can just sort of slowly untwist the two here, the two here, the two here. And then you're able to gently remove the rope. You have not damaged the net. And Dulcie, as soon as she is free, stands up and kind of like shakes her head that grumpy cat way. And then also flexes her wings slightly, just kind of testing them.
I should say, if you haven't seen the show before, Dulcie is a Tristan.
Yeah, so she is a winged cat creature who has a number of interesting abilities on top of that. She attempts to like scrabble and leap up and flaps her wings, and you can see that one of them actually doesn't flap properly. And she sort of like cantilevers around in a sort of half moon pattern and then drops to the ground again and then lands on her feet, but it's like it's clearly favoring her left wing. doesn't seem to be carrying her well, and she is now chittering anxiously, in much of the way that cats looking at birds out the window do. You know, that kind of like with a bit of voice thrown on top of it. She seems extremely worried and is like looking up at the cliffs and then into the tunnel and then up at you, Caliban. Okay. And then she meows loudly.
I'm gonna look where she's looking then.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Okay. Oh, that's very good, isn't it? Yeah.
Like the roundabouts, Caliban.
Okay. Looking up, the cliff face rises like 30 or 40 feet, at least up above, and it levels off flat at the top there. At the very crest of that, there is a tree, just a scraggly sort of scrub tree, I should say. And there's a handful of those dotting the ledge around. And 10 was all you needed to see this little glimpse. You could have possibly got more with a slightly higher roll. But the side of that tree, there is a blur of movement next to it. And you can see the hem of a dark cloak and a single foot vanishing into the side of that tree.
And how tall is it? How high up was that?
Probably 40 feet up a cliff face.
And it went into the tree itself.
We're in
I'm
Melbourne.
going to ask Peas Blossom to go and check it out.
Okay.
Good idea.
Peas Blossom, invisibly still, I presume, leaps off of your shoulder, and then winds his way quickly with his fast fly speed right to the spot, and relays telepathically to you, Master, I see not sign of the fleeing creature. No robe, nor wait. Oh, hither there does seem to be some disturbance in the gravel near the base of the tree. Methinks some creature did hither step, but they be gone.
Okay. Can Peas Blossom fly above the cliff just to check it out?
Yeah, sure. Do you have Peas Blossom stats in front of you?
Usually I do, yeah. Yeah. So his flying speed is 40 feet.
And does he have skill in perception, or is it just you can just add his wisdom?
Perception +3, stealth +8.
Cool. Make a perception check for Peas Blossom then. Just a d20 +3. Good time to shout out Matt Day, our technomancer and creator of Rollcast, so we can have these slick dice rolls on stream. 19, pretty good. Okay, using his full flight speed, Peas Blossom bolts straight up into the air and begins to survey the landscape. Well, Master, I see not much in the way of signs of life. There's a great deal of rock, and then giveth way to some faint grass. In the distance I do spy trees, but wait. And there's silence. He's moving to a different place to look closer at something. Tis strange, Master. I know not what to make of it. Burns on the ground. Strange shapes. A script. I know not how to make it out. 'Tis surely fell magic of some sort. Hath hither been left. And why these be climbing implements, sure, I missed them. Pitons. hither hammered into rock. But not enough. I do not understand, Master. I know not how so many of them came down the side, if that is what they did. They did not need to climb. I know not.
Methinks our friend has gone far. You can rejoin me. I'm going to bring Dulcie in to see Ravelor.
Okay. Peas Blossom will alight onto your shoulder as you get partway down the hall. As soon as he catches up to you, Rav, in just a few moments, you will have noticed the sound of Dulcie's voice, which you can understand. And she is very, very angrily saying, "She did disappear into the tree. She netted me like a bird or bat. Now I cannot fly. I shall eat her in the night, like the vermin she is."
Rav snaps his head up. Dulcie? Why, Mama's baby, where art thou?
Ravelor! Rav! 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 Which all of you are just hearing as
He sprints over to her, takes her into his arms, and immediately starts licking her fur like a mother cat.
You can see very quickly, Rav, that she is injured and favoring her left wing, which seems to be kind of bent at a strange angle and not really fully able to move like the other wing.
Mama's baby, what is this? Thou art injured, like some kind of bird or bat. Disgusting.
I did see the one come running outward who was felled by the arrow, but the other you shot not at. I understood not why.
The other who shot not at? We?
I? Or who were it that shot the bow?
I as in yes, or I as in thou?
Yes.
Dulcie, who shot the arrow?
Someone in here with thee.
Ah, with me.
Yee.
Now 'tis not the time for word games, dearest, for thou art injured, and we must find the culprit.
Can Dulcie say invisible things?
Yes, she can.
There we go. That would have been helpful.
Put it in.
Caliban, where didst thou find my baby, and how canst I repay thee?
I have Peas Blossom retell exactly what we saw, and then add 50 gold to the end.
Brad ignores the part at the end and goes, "But who is it that saw her? Was it I, as in yes, or I as in me?"
It was me.
I thank thee mightily, friend. And Rav gives him 1 gold.
I'll take it.
Caliban, knowst thou any fellow invisible creatures? For I know only of Peas Blossom.
Nay, methinks it was the mage that shot a cone of cold at most of us that was invisible to all but Dulcie. And I did see, or rather Peas Blossom did investigate that there was a circle of arcane sigils up above that must have been the way they got here so quickly, perchance, or at least escaped so quickly.
Well, my sweet one, we can't not have thee having an injured arm or
No,
wing.
my arm's fine.
Both of my sweet winged creatures are in need of some healing.
Has it been 10 minutes yet? I guess.
Yes, I will say at this point your prayer of healing can have taken effect.
Yes, sweet.
Whom did you target with that?
It
Or
would
how does
be
that work?
Padrig, Avery, Ravelor. Who else is in trouble? Alda. Two more.
Does Bertram need healing, or is he
Yeah.
fine?
No, he's fine.
Yeah, I'm.
I've also got
would appreciate it.
I've also got potions.
Cool. Well, she's
Save potions. Save potions.
probably herself then, and then do you reckon Bertram? Yeah, Bertram. She would be Bertram.
Can I give Can Rav give his spot to Dulcie?
I can also cure wounds. I can cure wounds too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So for those people that I just said, it is.
Give me Dulcie and I'll cure wounds.
Okay. Just don't try and scratch her belly.
No. 13 for those who I mentioned.
Thank you.
13. Right. Okay.
I'll use cure wounds on Dulcie. I'm gonna use it. Like how many HP does she have in the first place? You know what? Let's use it. I'll use a second level spell slot. Not yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, I'll use a second level spell slot on Dulcie.
Yeah.
Gonna be worth it, Dulcie. I'm gonna scratch your fucking belly.
I don't think that's how these things work.
2d8 plus 4. Well, I don't have to roll to see if it works, right?
Oh, the magic works. It's just a matter of how much it heals.
Ooh.
Nice.
Okay, Dulcie is when you place your hands on Dulcie, the magic flowing through your lemon myrtle focus out through your hands and glowing briefly into Dulcie's fur, the tips of which suddenly glow the same amber color that flows out of you, and then her wing rights itself. She is able to flutter her wings.
Oh, that is me.
Alan just rolls her eyes.
And then Patrick rolls to the floor and goes, "Oh, someone needs to rub my belly."
Rav like pokes at your belly with his foot.
Oh, that's my special spot.
Barwin, Alda, feeling your healing magic restore so much of her again, is going to walk with a very serious bearing up to you and say, Barwin, I was cross with thee, and I am sorry that I did prank thee. Thank you for healing me and keeping Veila safe.
Alda, I would have healed you regardless of how many pranks you played on me. But take that not as permission, just as measure of my warmth towards thee. I'm glad we are well met again.
Excellent, well. And then Alda sort of like snaps out of it and looks over to Veila again and kind of clumps through the water, sending golden light in her wake on the ground, and then comes straight up to her where Bertram is again spending a spell slot of his own to cast Cure Wounds. With his Tinker's tools, he is sort of making strange patterns with them through the air, almost as though eyes unfocused, looking at something that isn't there and adjusting it. And then the tips of those tools gleam for a moment, and a light in kind of lightning pattern emerges from Veila, touches the tools, and then some of her wounds from the combat. There are some like like faint traces of ice around her face and neck seem to melt away. And she's still lying there calmly. And Bertram looks up and says, I know not what to do with her condition. I'm afraid it is unlike anything I have seen. Barwin, you are a healer. I can see. Do you, perchance, know what we can do for her?
There are things I could try. Other than that, I think we would need to find a greater healer. Perhaps it is worth trying to revive her, using the diamond I would have used for Tristan. Perhaps it's worth the risk.
Why, this is Alda speaking now. Veila is not dead. I did see her when I saw my mother.
What didst thou see?
It were like here. All around these walls, this cave. And yet 'twere not. It were larger, methinks. Were changed. Gold and blue. And Veila, she sat there, here, and my mother. Both looked at me and they, methinks, would have spoke. That is when I did awaken here. I do not think that Veila is slain.
Perhaps touch her again. See if thou can see the rest of the message.
Oh, very well. I am full of nerves. What if I know not what to say?
We have thy back. I put my hand on Alda's back, and then Barwin puts her hand on Patrick's back.
That is Barwin's choice.
Barwin's back, and we make a link of friends.
I will do that.
Okay, precisely what's happening here?
And all we're waiting for is for Avery to go ahead, someone's back.
Be our friend, Avery.
Avery puts her hand on Barwin's back. Alda, just speak your beautiful heart and you will say the right thing.
Very, very well.
Is that the Little Mermaid? Is that the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's precisely where that is from.
Yeah, we're probably going to be demonetized.
That's very flattering of you to assume we
I
were
know.
monetized.
Sing it out of key if that helps with it. Copyright.
All right, so Podrick, your hand on Alda's back. Barwin, your hand on Podrick's back. Avery, your hand on Barwin's back. Was that the order of things?
Yeah.
Okay. Alda, encouraged and invigorated by your encouragement, places her claws again gently over Veila's outstretched hand. And then there is a convulsion through her body. Her eyes gleam bright gold, and Veila's do the same. Avery, Barwin, Podrick, the world around you changes. It is much like the cave where you sit now, but the air is different, warmer, almost stiflingly warm. There is steam rising up from the water, and it is moving, undulating, slowly, and then disturbed again, and then it stills, and then disturbed again. And then you hear a voice. Greeting. The steam parts from the sound of that voice and the exhalation with the breath. And looming over you is the form of a massive golden head, gleaming bright blue aqua eyes, staring down at all of you in the same attitude and posture where you were. But now, instead of an insensate Veila, you see that she is wide awake in front of you, looking confusedly from Avery to Barwin to Podrick, and then up the great golden face above. Buckle, Rav, and Caliban. From your vantage point nearby, you can see that all three of your comrades' eyes are gleaming gold, just like Alda's, and they have frozen in place, hands on each other's backs, staring wide-eyed and slack-jawed possibly up into a place above the entrance to the cave. The voice begins to speak. Those of you who are in the cave, mentally speaking, you can hear Veila's voice as she opens her mouth, taking in a breath, and begins to speak. Those of you who are touching Veila can hear a dragon's voice, and Veila's voice, somewhat doubled. Protectors of an ancient name, attend the word of sea and flame. For now the sun doth fear the moon, though haughty in her crown of noon. The bearers of the blood remain, their silent secret is their pain. You, that word you echoes. You can feel it shake each of your bodies in turn. You who shed your blood this day, our duty shall your welcome pay. Lend your might to swell our odds. Condemn those drakes who would be gods, and pluck down from celestial skies those crystal tears that Aeorn pride.
It's very good.
On the word cries, the steam begins to condense around the figure of the golden face. It is almost cloying, difficult to breathe. You take in a breath, and your lungs can't fully inflate. It is so thick that it is almost like being underwater. Those of you outside can see your friends begin to choke on the air as they're trying to breathe. And then all at once, Veila gasps, and all of your eyes cease their golden light, and you return to awareness, taking in real air and looking around the cave. Those of you who are staring up into that great golden face, exactly where that face was, there is a statue carved on the inside of the entrance to the cave wall. It's been behind you most of this time as you were fighting. A statue flecked in gold crystal, emerging at various intervals. A massive dragon, wings unfurled, surrounding one side of the entrance, and the other wing fully outstretched, covering most of that wall. Eyes of golden crystal, gleaming brightly. And there is a second statue on the other side of that entrance. This one more serpentine in its shape, undulating in and out of the rock, like waves of coiled snake, flecked not with golden crystal, but with blue. And its great, massive head jutting out of the rock, made of the very same stone, with bright blue crystal eyes, staring outward and downward at the central point where all of you are standing.
We need that in writing.
Need what?
I will try to recite it.
Caliban, you would have heard Veila saying those words out
I
loud.
heard it.
Yeah, I don't know if I made that clear. Buckle, Caliban, and Rav, you heard Veila speaking in her voice. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
Alda, that was
weird.
your mother?
that was she.
Is
Veila.
Veila conscious now?
Veila is breathing. Her eyes are open, and she is staring wide-eyed at Bertram, and then looks to Avery, seeing you there, and grabs Bertram's armor, and then a hand down to the ground and says, Who are these? What are these here? How have they made them hither? Bertram, are we safe? Avery, you have come.
We came. These people helped me. You can trust them. They helped rescue Alda. They helped, I guess, rescue you from wherever you were. Are you a dragon, Veila? I'm not good at poetry, but it seemed like... Are you a dragon? Do you have dragon blood?
Make a persuasion check with advantage, Avery. As you say this, Bertram puts a hand on Veila's shoulder. Says, "It's all right. You are safe. What she says is true. I brought them here to you."
Oh.
Okay.
I chose acrobatics instead of persuasion as a proficiency.
Veila
Do a backflip. See if that helps.
Veila ceases her heavy breathing and is looking warily from each of you. Barwin, Buckle, Rav, Podrick, Caliban. And then her eyes light on Alda, who is standing right there, so close, in plain sight almost, she was hiding. And Veila cries, and tears begin streaming from her eyes as she throws her arm around Alda's neck. You're alive. You're alive. I had sworn I had seen you die. And Alda sort of stands unsure of what to do, and then wraps her forearms around Veila, retracting her wings, and then almost instinctively folding her wings around Veila with her arms, like a bird around chicks. And then she turns to look at all of you, and Veila is sort of huddled and sobbing in her grasp. She says, I think me that Veila is not well. I know not what of. She does shake like a leaf. There, Veila, it will be well. Ye are safe. Why, we did fell the brigands that hither came. Veila. And then she undoes her wings, and you can see that Veila is slowing her breath, but clutching hard onto Alda and looking up at Bertram, and then over to you, Avery, and she says, there is so much you do not know. I'm sorry. There is so much I did have to hide from you. And you, Bertram. Why, from everyone. I have been so alone. I've always been so alone. It were the four winds that pursued you, were it not?
Yes, it was.
I did know they would hunt thee. To the ends of the earth they would go for Alda, I know it. And I think for me, though I thought not until but some time hence that they even knew I were alive. Why, Bertram, you did just... My family. Oh, God's my family. And you can see she begins to breathe deeply again in short, sharp intakes of breath, and her eyes dilate. She seems to lose again sight of where you are and looks around in a full-on panic. She is grasping through the water, and everywhere she touches her hands, the ground glows in an intense golden light. And Bertram is grabbing her shoulders, and Alda is holding on to her as well. And she's looking back and forth, and it seems like she is momentarily gone again. And she's seeing something or someone who is not there. And then she begins to speak. Where? Whither? Why? Why? I did hide to protect ye. And yet ye were found. Where? Mother. Mothers. And then she begins to breathe heavy again, and her words become insensible, letting words out every so often between sentences. It becomes hard to make head or tail of what she's saying, but she is panicking.
Does anyone have a spell or a potion that can calm
emotions or
Yeah.
something like that?
I have not got it prepared.
I've got Thorn Whip.
I can command her to calm, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah,
I
alright.
could suggest it.
Hideous laughter, isn't it?
Maybe suggestions would be better.
Yeah, I could do a suggestion of being calm.
Okay, what is your DC for suggestion?
Oh, wait, do I have the slots for it? That's the question.
I can
Oh, yeah,
command,
I
you know.
do. Wiz 15.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, yes.
Whiz.
Yes.
Well,
Okay, I cast it.
Cool.
So Rav's like, I suggest that you calm down.
Okay. Veila has failed her save. And Rav, as you speak, the word suggest rings differently. Again, much like that blast of her and the Huntress did strangely through the chamber. And Veila's eyes lid slightly. Her pupils go from dilated to normal. Her breathing slows. She looks up to to Avery, and then over to Bertram. It's true. They are slain. My sisters. My father. And Bertram nods. I did tell thee 2 days hence. I have seen nor heard naught from you since then. When Avery arrived, I came hither straight, thinking not what I would find. Two days, and she begins to scrabble in the water and rises, heedless of the people trying to hold on to her, and then she sort of stumbles forward and looks up at the statue. 2 days you have held me hither. Why? So much to do. She collects herself. Turns to look at all of you.
Thou art welcome, and Buckle bows.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. Seems I owe you my life. I will repay that debt. I'm afraid I must burden you with a terrible secret. I know not what else to do but to share it. And once you hear it, mayhap you shall want no more to do with me. It is as you see. Knowing only my name is enough to put you in grave peril. It has done the same for my blood and kin. whom I did hope to protect by my absence. Well, it seems the rapid beat of mine heart hath been forestalled. And that fluttering of fell dreams and madness of panic can ne'er make way with my soul again this moment. I feel I came here and fell in a terrible swoon, as I did once before. But first, things firstly. It is mine honor to make your acquaintance. My name is Veila, third daughter of El, Thane of Dawnvale. This decade past, thought to be slain. Hither, at the Golden Cave, is where I most days do remain. My family has been murdered, and the Thanedom of Dawnvale sits newly oped. My father, who did for my mother's place fulfill. Why it was to be my sister's place. From her that has been ripped. And all life, all thought of mercy. Well. I know that that doth not answer all. But Avery, I did want to give ye this chance. Knowing what you know about my parentage. And now it seems that the four winds and whomever else they do truck with knows not only that I live, but vows that I must die. Methinks that they also know who I truly am. That I am not only Alda's keeper. I have till now kept you as one who would aid in Alda's cause, true. And in other tasks in my employ. And I do hope that I have been able to count you as a kind of friend. As much as one in my position can. But there are some things one cannot ask of friends, and assume the answer be aye, please. Let logic guide your mind and fly you from hence. For staying hither shall put you all in danger again and again, and I wish not to bring it to thee.
Veila, worry not for us. We have fought off the four winds so many times over the past 9 days. Pretty much every second day, we fought them. And we beat them.
In my current state, I will fight 1,000 evils to not step foot on a boat again.
Second good.
And Veila, feel guilty not for putting us in danger. Or we would have done it for Alda, regardless of being asked to or not. We just wanted to do the right thing.
Veila, tell it true. This evil thou spakest of, it's Wyrm, is it not? Nay, I thought not. Thou canst stay on thine own terms.
Avery's word I know and will trust with my life, but I do thank all of you from the bottommost of mine heart. And I understand that you have come far in this struggle, but you must know that what lies ahead of you, if you stay in mine acquaintance, if you stand within the circle of mine influence, it shall be more struggle, and great pain, and sorrow and loss. For these do orbit my stars like fell meteors, and so many who in mine orbit dwell likewise do fall.
Good Veila, we
Okay.
are not ones to avoid such struggles. And so
Veila-
they are not saying anything that we are not already destined and agreed upon to follow.
I don't know whether struggle is what we're
Wow.
after, is it?
For we are a band of struggles.
Well, I wish not to sit in pure calm and
Oh
Emptiness.
no,
To live is
neither, but she does paint a pretty bleak picture of what would happen if we were to stay.
I think, regardless of if we were to stay, the fact that we have been here at all, that we have killed multiple high-ranking members of the Four Winds, has already put us in enough danger. We may as well just find out what this big
Burn it to
secret.
the ground, yes.
Aye, for when we sit still and are calm is when we can hear the loud yelling of our regrets. So onward, I say.
I have thy back, and I put my hand on Veila's back, and then Barwin puts her hand. Yeah. Yes, and Barwin.
When you say that, Podrick, Veila suddenly seems to kind of actually take you in for the first time. Like instead of just sort of doing that thing where you're looking back and forth from everyone, taking them in and saying, she actually sort of looks at you, Podrick. Thank you. It is an unfamiliar phrase, but I think I like it.
Veila, you know what this is? And then Podrick pulls out the blood moss from the thing.
Veila looks down at it. Says, I am certain that it is very strange. And Bertram, from over her shoulders, without like missing a piece, blood moss.
What'd you call
Where did
it?
you find that?
In a cave. No, it wasn't a cave. It was in a dungeon with a vampire. Was it with a vampire?
No.
No.
So we found
No.
out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the dead temple where you found that one.
Yeah, with the gold, with the gold pool, in the pool of gold. Like, no, we took the gold. Did we take the gold? No.
No.
I think this relationship is gold. This is this. I have thy back.
Bertram says, where you found Alda, what manner of place was this?
It was in a dungeon with a vampire.
Nay, 'twas not. 'Twas in a secret order. Was it the Four Winds? Or perhaps someone affiliated, at least.
It was a place in Orst called the
Very
Dead Temple.
stingy.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Dead
Now you
Temple.
did encounter Four Winds agents that operating through it. Yeah, but it's a place that's dedicated to one of the aspects of the Reaper. And you remember you met those people who were making their patrols around in regulated time. Yeah, when you cosplayed as guards or as acolytes. This-
Yeah, it was the Dead Temple in Orst.
in Orst.
That's what I meant to say.
Of course, in Orst.
This golden pool. And at that point, Alda perks up. Bertram. There were there where they had me bound. Pool of blood. Golden dragon blood. Like mine, but so much of it, Bertram. It filled an entire pool. It was horrendous. Why such horror I had ne'er seen or smelt. It did fill me with terror. Then Bertram looks back at the blood moss in your hand. And golden dragon's blood. Blood moss. I cannot speak to the specific end, but I know that such material prove powerful ingredients for magic. And for one such as me, they allow you to imbue their properties into material through the arts of technomancy, for example, enchantment. You can create stronger weaponry and armor, but also potions, potent and well, you understand.
I do.
Bertram,
Yes,
dost thou know of Francis Bacon?
Francis.
Was it Francis?
It was Nicholas.
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 Yeah, Francis Bacon's an actual person.
Francis Bacon, the
Nicholas,
Yeah.
Nicholas
polymath.
Bacon, yes.
Oh,
Nicholas
I was
Bacon.
gonna
Sorry,
Kevin.
my bad.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
Nicholas
Like the
Bacon.
Baldwins, they're a family.
Yeah.
Do
yeah,
I know of Nicholas Bacon? What?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Of course I know of Nicholas Bacon. He's only the foremost alchemist in all of Eston.
So you're
Perhaps
a
one of the
fan.
most accomplished technomancers in living memory.
Aye, but 'tis no excuse for not asking people how they are.
We have some acquaintance with Nicholas Bacon, and in sooth, that's how he started on this journey. But he was the one that did tip us off of the Temple of Death, in which we did find the dragon in the first place.
Rav, with your passive insight, which I reckon is probably the highest of the group, a few of you might have relatively high passive insight, actually. Veila has gone stone-faced at the sudden turn in this conversation. And then Bertram continues, well, he's widely respected by practitioners of my arts and far more advanced than any I have hitherto known by his tracks on finer technomancy and dissolution of enchantment on the last word in those particular arts, as well as. And then Veila says, Bertram, why don't you inform them how Master Bacon acquired his fame? Yes, well, I was coming to that. Nicholas Bacon is pioneer in the use of draconic anatomy to increase the potency of enchantment. He hath, it seems, created diagrams and methods to channel the remains of dragonkind, of their various iterations, and to utilize them for alchemical means with miraculous effect, it is said. It's quite the lineage, if you believe the tales.
It is well then that we did not return Alda to him, and instead Avery met us.
Aye, and if he's our enemy, that means we owe him nothing.
It is very
Yes, sir.
well that you did not give Alda to him. And then Bertram says, well, we know... Yes, of course. She should be here. We know not for certain that Bacon would have done any violence to Alda or any dragon. No, we know not for certain, but we know for certain that here Alda is closer to safe. She belongeth not in Orst. She should be where some can protect her. Oh, I know not who that might be. She should not be amongst those who would exploit her power for such purposes.
How about Fjorden Moonfang?
Say again.
What do you know? Sorry?
Did you say Fjorden Moonfang?
Did I get that wrong too?
It's Nicholas Moonfang.
Nicholas.
What do you know that name?
We have a friend who had a prophetic dream that the Moonfang was flying this way.
Oh, gods.
That's what I thought.
When Eleva spake, I understood not her import. When I spoke her words. Forgive me. What are your names? I know not how to address thee. You who gave me this fell news. What should I call thee?
You can call me Caliban, and this is my friend Peas Blossom.
Oh, does Peas Blossom become visible in the process? And you who have my back, as you did say.
Hi. I'm Pudrig Dangerfield. You can call me Pudrig. And this is Terrence.
Seems your Terrence wanteth not to become visible.
He's shy.
Stuff this Peas Blossom. Caliban and Peas Blossom. Master Pudrig, you are well met. And these others, Avery, that you have brought to meet us.
They're good people. This one over here is my ex-fiance. We had a short but tumultuous engagement. This here is Buckle. He's the best fighter you'll ever meet. And then of course we have Barwin, who is a magical chef. I mean, no, I do.
Indeed, she be the fry cook.
I meant she's a chef with magic. Not that. No, it's still not coming out right. She's really good with magic.
Delmace, call me Barwin, and that be enough.
She's a fantastic cleric who can whip up a storm.
Oh, but with all that
of
chat,
magic.
I'm hungry. Would you like a mushroom?
Good Barwin, do I espy from thy crest that thou art a member of an order of the Sower?
Indeed, I am.
And thou dost pursue the way of the loving hand. I thank you. And it is my honor to receive all of you. And my privilege to be so blessed, to be held in your mighty hand. So I have been, I think, brought from the very cusp of lifelessness and the threat of imminent death. Thank you once again. Perhaps fate has guided you hither. If the name Fjorden Moonfang is on your tongue, when hither at my doorstep I you find. We have much to discuss.
Perhaps now thou shouldst finish thine thought about the secret that is mentioned minutes ago.
Please.
Oh yes. Sorry, I got ahead of myself, didn't I?
I do agree, and so I shall, Barwin. After a 10-minute break, which we're going to take right now. It is 9 o'clock.
Wow, it's weird that I assume Bella's saying that.
Well, I mean, in a way. Segued that way.
It's probably been a while since she's had a bathroom break.
Yeah,
it has been. Or
I
has
think you're
it?
standing in her bathroom.
That's why it's so golden.
It's really warm.
Jeez.
So that has been our first half of our session. Thank you for tuning in. We will return in 10 minutes at 9:10, 10 past. And then from them, we will have the second half of our session and find out more from Veila and her involvement with both Eliva of the Southern Strait and, of course, with Ford and Moonfang, the terror of the Old North, whom you saw in your vision. We will kick it to a break and return in 10 minutes, 10 past. See you then, and thank you very much. And we're back. Welcome back to Bardic Inspiration for some D&D and Shakespearean Style. Thank you to those of you hanging out in the chat and watching. We're so glad to have you with us. We left the Headless Marys in the Golden Cave, where they just had a vision of sorts with Veila, whom they learned is third daughter of the House of Donvale, which is the territory where you find yourselves in at the moment, or just near thereabouts. And you have learned that her father and her two sisters, were murdered. And that she just found this out 2 days ago. And she also just learned from Bertram that it was 2 full days ago. She seemed unaware of this fact and has been alarmed, stood up. And then you managed to point out that you came with word of Ford and Moonfang, the terror of the Old North, another vision of a dragon that you had been gifted by your friend Lendra when last he visited you aboard ship. So it's quite a lot, basically, I think. We left off with Veila saying that it must have been fate that brought you here, if you have that name on your lips. And then she proceeded to get each of your names so that she knew whom she was speaking with and entrusting herself to. I believe there's much I need to say. Avery, when we did meet, I had already been living a very dangerous and isolated time. When you helped with Alda's egg, and when she did hatch with you.
Ravgo's eggs, Avery.
Everyone has their one exception.
Exception?
Thought you were out of puns.
When a wormling hatches, the circumstances of that hatching, they have meaning. It's not always clear what that meaning is. For me, in the moment, it meant a chance at being able to tell someone else. Because I had to. You couldn't overlook a dragon in your lap. So I will attempt to be tutored by that moment. I am the keeper, the bearer of the spirit of Eliva. Mine is just one piece in the long golden line. My mother and bearers before her, we all think of her and all of each other as a line of mothers of a kind, though not all conjoined by blood motherhood. I was very young when she was taken ill. She called me to her bedside That was the first time I heard her voice. Not my mother's, but her voice. In a tongue I could not speak or understand. All of us, we, the bearers of the line, we, protectors of the blood, it is our duty to stay alive. I know not how better to put it. As long as we live, some piece of Eliva here remains. I think you saw her. Some of you, just now. I knew you were there with me. She points up to the statue. This cave, it is a kind of sacred space, if we can use that word for dragonkind. It's blessed, blended, touched. It holds something of her, much like my blood does, much like your blood does, Alda, although much more directly so. When we are here, our blood sings, and we can hear her more strongly than e'er before. But since my mother died, I have always been able to hear her some, but not reliably, and I could not always understand. And now sometimes even when I hear, I do not fully understand. And sometimes it is voices besides her, other keepers. Sometimes even my mother. Eliva was a great dragon, one of the greatest on Aeon that e'er took to sea or sky. She is called the Wyrm of Sea and Flame. Her parentage is the stuff of legend, but she herself once controlled the skies above these waters. Between hither and Gandar, all was her domain. That was long ago. I know not how long ago. This is how long ago. Lifetimes and lifetimes. But now it seems that some do know. These of the Four Winds and whomever else. They are hunting for me specifically, and I knew not what to credit their knowledge, but you said you saw a vision of Ford and Moonfang. This vision, what were it like? I assume it were fearsome. I have only tales. You have your own eyes, or mind's eyes report. What did you see?
A big blue dragon flying through the mountains. It was snowy. It was cold. Anyone else?
I remember it.
Alda ate a coin, and she went. Her scales went blue. Did they? Or she was able to breathe out frost.
Oh yes, yes, they were very strange. Much like what that invisible person did to all of ye, without the murder. But
Right.
I did see. I saw him too. Great fell beast on a mountaintop. Mayhap even bigger than my mother. I remember the cold. Do you not remember the cold down the mountain? He thinks he did fly. Oh, I know not whither. Orden Moonfang, Veila says, was once known as the terror of the Old North. In Helgen, and in the northern provinces of what is now called Eston, thither he kept his domain. You must understand, dragons are not uniform creatures. They are like you and I, and each defined and created and living, long living, choosing and changing. I know not what Forden was before he rose to power, but when he did, he was fearsome. Eliva has shown me. She's given me feelings, impressions, snatches of old tales. Clouds of ice. Great swelling armies. It is said that he did rule as though a human king might, but as a dragon. And he did crave fealty and service and conquest. I know not how he felt, but I know that he and Eliva disappeared and were not known outside of stories and songs. I should think some 2,000 years ago. If he is to return, then I fear that we all, and certainly I and Alda, are in for grave peril to continue. For surely, whether he hath returned already or will do soon, there must be some agents of his that do perpetuate these chases. For it would be his utmost desire to eliminate the Golden Line. Why, in that of any dragon, I should think, who might stand against him. Perhaps to plume up the lines of any who would his ally be. Though I know not if he's the sort to trust any, but to use them for his purposes. Well, now you know.
Wow, that's a lot of information.
So it must be.
Veila, I just have one question, I guess. Well, I have lots of questions.
I'm certain.
Who laid Alda's egg?
Why, I should think that Eliva did.
Right, okay. So she's still around physically.
Well, I know not. Some part of her remains in this place, in me and in Alda, but the form of her body has not been seen or known of, and I think I understand. You mean to know whither did Alda's egg come from, if only 3 years hence she did hatch?
Yes.
Alda's egg is an ancient thing. It has been held by keepers mayhap these 2,000 years.
Wow, okay. That makes a lot more sense. And your bloodline, now nearly extinct, holds, I guess, the only ongoing piece of believer Eliva.
Eliva, yes.
Hello, Eliva.
Yes, now I think I hope you understand.
But so are you? You have dragon blood? Are you part dragon?
Of a kind. It's hard to explain. Your body, Avery, is made of flesh and blood, but also spirit and soul. Like all things. I think that when you feel passion, that is the spirit in your blood enlivening you. All motion, all passion and life, that is spirit. For most of us, these things are separate. Body and spirit and soul. It is different for dragons. The three are unified, not split. They are the closest things to very gods that there could be, besides the gods themselves, in their way. But not as gods are now, but how they were long ago. I'm terribly sorry. I myself only have snippets, rhymes, aphorisms, and they repeat like echoes, hard to distinguish. But something of Eliva's spirit is merged with mine. It moves through my blood. And just as my own passions can move me when my spirit is moved, thither Eliva can make contact with me. Her spirit and mine, they are partnered within my blood, and through them we can speak, and sometimes do wondrous things.
Okay. Well, so why are you such a threat? Why does the Four Winds want to kill you? Like, what could you possibly... You're basically just talking to an invisible dragon. Like, what?
You said that there was a pool of golden dragon blood where you did find Alda. Not think me how long it must have been there. How they came by it. My blood. Alda's blood. Whoever controls it. They can guarantee whether or not Eliva can ever return.
And if Eliva did return, would she be able to fight Ford and Mustang?
I think she would not sit idly by while Moonfang had his way with the world. I cannot but help but think that she must have been the one to have checked him all those millennia ago. Not all dragons wish what Moonfang wishes for. I know not what his ambition be beyond power over land and sea, but it must have been something truly terrifying for Eliva to face him, if indeed that is what transpired. You must understand, dragons, they are loath to such conflict with each other. Most wish not to have truck with humanoid kind. We are a rather risky lot. Alone, we are not so powerful, but en masse, I suppose there is much fear on every side.
So in wiping you out, Oliver can never come back, and there will be hardly any fight against Gordon Moon Flame.
Such, I believe, is the land's lay.
Well, how do we bring her back?
It's good we saved the diamond, methinks.
Revivify?
Why?
It's been longer than 1 minute.
I do not know. Could I know, then I might have saved myself and all of ye ample trouble years ago. Mayhap even before Alda's egg hatched. Then she could have had a mother to teach her how to hunt and fly and breathe fire.
She needs not a mother, for she hath us.
And Alda, who has been sort of nestled up against Veila, bends her neck around Veila's hip and looks up at all of you and says, I do. And you have me. And then she like puffs, and a bunch of smoke comes out of her nostrils, and a bit of flame kind of spurts out of the edge of her mouth, causing more steam to rise up out of the water between you all. And then the steam starts to part, and for a moment you just see her head through the steam, like a little miniature version of her mother's that you saw in your vision, the three of you that saw that.
That's my son.
Veila, now don't get mad at me for suggesting this, but perhaps we need the advice of one of the best alchemists in Eston. Perhaps he may know how to bring her back.
You can see Veila begins to anger, and then her eyes sort of go neutral again. And I do not trust wizards.
Oh, tell me about it, sister. But methinks we can pry him for information before we swiftly behead him. Both can happen very quickly.
And Alda doesn't need to be there either.
You have a relationship with him. He knows you. Is
Not
so?
me.
But he
Or
has
me.
met the rest of you.
It's just these four.
Where were you?
I don't remember.
I feel like you must have been there, unless you went
You
out
were
with Yori
there.
to do something.
Yeah, I think I was out doing something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the
for a
city
few.
at the time.
Because this is when you saw the staff of the Faebane getting destroyed and all that stuff as well. I don't know if you were there
Yeah.
for that. And you went to his many rooms. Yeah, if that's not ringing a bell, then you must have been away. And then Bertram pipes up and says, like, you must understand there is a great allure for any who reach a certain level of power to. Well, there is always temptation to reach for the limits of that power. I do believe that Veila is wise to be suspicious. Should not give too much, show too much, but mayhap there is some wisdom as well in what you say, Avery. Mayhap in his research he has come across some ancient lore about the potency of dragon blood, and what rituals were taking place in that failed temple with the blood moss, where you found her. I know not, but Veila hath another choice to make. Is that not so? And Veila closes her eyes and looks at Alda and then back up at all of you and says, my family is slain. And as such, the thanedom of Donvale sits vacant. No. The living right of succession, well, it should pass to mine uncle. Unless, of course, there were a living heir. Which there is. I have been presumed dead these 10 years past, and I have endeavored to keep it that way. For mine own safety and Alda's, to protect the blood, as I swore. But I do repent me the loss of all my family has built. And I have little love even for the memory of mine uncle, whom I think not to be a good man. I know not what to do. If I come forward, then I am now a public face, in whatever all of this is. And though I take what is rightfully my family's, perhaps I expose myself even more. But mayhap I can do good with that power, or expand the reach. Mayhap if I stay here, then I can devote more of my time to this pursuit. My mind is divided. Sun and storms.
Mayhap you get a body double who looks like you, and you dress her up to look like you, and then you make all the decisions so that if someone tries to kill you, they kill the body double.
It is an innovative plan, Avery.
It's
I
your
wonder
uncle.
whom I could trust.
No, you go.
Oh, that was it. What were you saying?
So you like not your uncle? Does that mean
No.
he would not be a just ruler, or just that he smells of offal, or some such thing?
Mine uncle smells only of fine perfumes and civet.
Oh,
He
that's all right.
Is a man of the court, and I am certain that he hath his tendrils so expanded and his influence maintained to be ready if just such a thing has taken place. And though I have not credible evidence upon whom to lay suspicion, I know that he hath gained the most from this, and I know that he will do anything necessary to increase what is his. I do not trust him. Even as a child, this I could see in him.
Perhaps then, with 10 years past, may not be wise for you to reveal yourself now. Maybe you need more time.
I have. Mourn in silence and secrecy the loss of what was my family's. Watch my uncle increase his power, but know that I can't even say I know the blood is safe. We're all here. We're all here slain. I forgot myself.
The witch escaped.
The witch?
No, mage. A magical sort. You know her name, do you not? Or did Tristan say her name was... I can't remember.
One of the assassins said her name out
Yeah.
loud during the fight.
He's chastised.
It happened literally moments ago for all of you, so I'm not going to make you roll for it or anything. But
Right.
one of the assassins said, "Celine,
Celine.
Celine."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name was Celine. Dost thou know of her?
dear. It's of importance that that is who that is, I think. But more importantly, that she doth know the location of this cave.
She knows. She
That
even
is-
has a circle up above right now.
What?
Mm.
A circle?
There
A
was
means of teleportation.
Mayhap. That's what I thought might be the case.
Vigilance.
The location of this cave hath been nearly as closely guarded a secret as mine own blood.
Trust me, lady, like, we rolled such high perception checks. And there's no way we could have known that we were being followed. Trust me. I think it was like 26.
Yeah. Bertram avers, he's like, we did the most careful eye maintain, and we split through the straits and the crashing rocks. I cannot but think me they did choose another route. They must have had advance warning of where to go. I know not where they came by this intelligence. We did keep watch over their vessel, and it were there when we did depart. Spaniel had not left, and does not rest outside.
Doth your uncle know of this cave's location? Would he have given it away to the Four Winds?
I cannot think so. I do presume that my mother did know, but I've not seen him since 10 years past. I know not what my mother would have trusted with him.
And the rest of your family, did they know before they were slain?
I know not for certain. My mother and father were very close. It is less common than you may think for people of their station. She must have shared something with him. I know not if she would have shared the location of this cave, though.
It is
My
of
father
little
was a good
consequence. They know. They know now.
It is true.
You can't stay here.
Not bear the thought of thinking of them defiling this place. Perhaps. Wait. And then you see Veila's eyes begin to glow again. A gold spreading from their pupils through their irises out through the sclera. And Alda's doesn't. He looks perplexedly at Veila. And then out to the rest of you. Oh! Look! Thither! Behind you! The stone doth sing! And growing slowly louder, at a pitch you couldn't have heard when Alda did. But suddenly the volume begins to increase. There is a faint humming. And the crystals on the rock formation nearest you begin to slowly pulsate with golden light. Then they begin to, like liquid, change their form. One of these clumps of crystals solidifies eventually into the shape of a sword. It is a curved blade scimitar, which is still lightly affixed to the wall. And the side of the blade that is facing you is a brilliant orange, though it is some kind of metal. And the handle of that blade is an open dragon mouth, flecked with golden sails.
That's cool.
And the blade emanating from the open mouth, curving slightly at the edge.
Prince of Persia.
Next to that blade, another set of crystals begins to liquefy and converge. Much smaller. It is a set of pipes, pan flute. and it seems as though it is actually made of coral. It has the appearance of sticks of coral with light barnacles sort of emerging from the different pipes, and on it, with the kind of intricate carving, is the crash of foam and waves, as though they are emerging from the interstices between each of the pipes. And these two things are sitting there, lightly affixed to the walls, and behind them with just tiny remnants of this crystal that seems to have formed into them. And then Veila, eyes golden, turns and looks to you all again and repeats the lines that you heard before. You who shed your blood this day, our duties shall your welcome pay. Then she comes back to herself. I think that Eliva has given you a gift.
Shotgun.
Yeah, there they are. They're stuck to the cave wall. What do you do?
I'm gonna try grab it.
Okay. Avery, you can see if you take the scimitar, it easily comes off of the wall. It was only sort of lightly held there by very thin sheaths of the crystal that crumbles away when you pull. The blade is light, extremely light and well balanced, and you can feel with a sort of practiced hand that it keenly swishes through the air, and the other side of the blade is different from the one that was facing outward. Unlike the brilliant orange that emerged from the dragon's mouth, on the other side, the blade is a kind of steely blue, a deep blue. Yeah, it is it's a very fancy sword.
Hey Ravelar, would you like these pipes? They look pretty musical.
Indeed I would, but didst thou just call me Ravelar?
Sorry, it's Peas Blossom's fault.
I do regret me, master. I was much perplexed by the shaping of crystals into swords and instruments. I will...
But the answer is I do like greatly to lay my hands upon some pipes.
I am proficient in pan flute. However,
Oh, really?
if
I did not know that.
But being the bard, Ravelar, you are the performer of us.
Thou canst eat it, thou canst have it.
There's an 8 for the Rav. Oh my god!
And now we dance.
That's amazing.
I shall keep it one day and then give it to thee the next.
Aye. This shall be like the driving of the ship. I will be Yori one day, you will be Barwin the next.
Thou shouldst not say such a name to me. And at the mention of this word, Rav digs around in his pants and pulls out the dead fish.
Alda looks up with for a second interest and then disgust.
He holds it to his face like it's a fair lady's handkerchief. Yori, gone so soon.
Ravelar, wouldst thou wish to test the pan flute now?
Aye. A distraction is what we all need, Barwin. I thank thee mightily.
Okay, are you gonna play the flute?
Yeah.
You're holding it wrong. Alright, just no, try it. You go. Ooh. No, you go. From the other it's okay, you too.
Okay. Let's see. Ravelar, make a wisdom saving throw, please.
What's my whiz?
Oh,
Pretty good.
Yeah.
22, that is a success. Okay,
He's
Rav.
not all looks, this Ravelor.
As you begin to play the note, you realize a couple of things. One, this is easily the best instrument you have ever held in your life. Like, it is of superb craftsmanship.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about... Nope, there's no way. There's no word I can use that is not twistable in this moment. Literally nothing about this item cannot be metaphored into dick.
Woodwind. No, that's
No, can't do it. Can't do it.
It's coral wind.
It's the best instrument. It's the best instrument you've ever put your mouth.
No.
Well, by that alone, Adam, you're right. It is magical indeed.
What you notice is, for one, this is heavily infused with magic. For another, as you take a breath to play, you actually get a little bit of a preview. Just by happenstance, your intake of breath brings air the reverse way over the reeds of the pan flutes, and you feel something grip your mind for a moment, and it's enough to tip you off. Not yet. Seeing this, Bertram comes over, says, Ravelor, I know that you bear a strange distaste for my person and everything I say.
I think it's not strange, but okay.
A marked disgust. But I must say, perhaps you should spend time with this gift. Caution is the word, I think. Some great power is risky to wield with haste.
Aye, Bertram. Thou art not the first to give me warning that I should get to know a set of pipes before I lay mine lips upon them. I shall heed them, even though I like not the hole from whence they were delivered.
Okay. Mel, for your benefit, you can go to your inventory, or I can do it for you if that's easier. But if you go to the inventory and you search, I think I've got it enabled so you can find it. Search for Pipes of the Tide and Foam.
Pipes of the tide and I'm holding on.
You're just on a mission to get us sued.
We get away with everything under parody, right? That's fine. So I hope you're able to find that in your inventory.
Yes.
Next to, and Avery, you're holding onto this scimitar, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up to Bertram.
He is looking at this with keen interest. He pulls out a sort of jeweler's eyepiece and puts it up to his eyes, and then takes out a small tool and sort of begins to like gently run the tool along the blade, and it begins to sort of make a musical note almost. And he seems to watch and then listen. And then again, a bolt of this sort of arcane lightning strikes up into the tool in his hand. He takes the lens out of his eye. Avery, whoever wields this sword will have a lot of impressive power. This is the sword of sea and flame. There are songs about this blade.
Sing it.
I am no singer. Perhaps your bards. Looking quizzically at Podrick for a moment, having seen them discuss the pan flute together.
Rav is deeply offended.
This has been touched by dragonfire. I can only think mayhap Elivers herself. The blade is like nothing I have ever seen. It is a seamless blending of two alloys. The one clearly taking on the essence of fire. The dragon. The other. Why, it is as though the very stuff of sea foam itself. Powerful transmutation magic. The force over flame and tide. Whoever wields it shall do awesome things, I think.
Caliban goes up to the wall and is just waiting for the crystals to give him something.
Make a nothing seems forthcoming at this time, Caliban. But make an investigation check if you like. If you want to check out those crystals.
Just take the crystals, Caliban.
That's what it is.
17. Caliban's a pretty good investigator. Okay. If you touch the rock and the crystal, it feels very much like mundane material, like quartz, for example. Just kind of a mildly translucent golden flecked crystal that seems to emerge naturally from the rock. You can take the tip of your dagger and sort of scrape at the rock around the crystal, and it flecks away as normal rock might under extreme duress or sort of scratches. The crystal does not. You can poke at the edges to try to get leverage and pry, and it does not seem to be affected at all. You can run even the edge of your dagger across it. It does not seem to kind of leave any trail, any kind of scratch. It seems totally unbothered by the impact.
Selfish, you mean? Yeah. All right, I've got my hidden dagger, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Are we staying here?
Well, I suppose we have a choice. I suppose I have a choice. If I leave mine uncle to his device, and we cannot stay here, or we presume that we shall be targeted, well, then we either have to flee, or make a stand against whatever comes. If I can presume your assistance in either of those things. You have done so much.
Where will Alda stay?
I do not know. I know in my heart her place is here. This is what calls to us, but I know not for certain that she can be safe.
How widespread are these four winds? Are they continent wide, or are they more
north, south,
smaller
west.
operation? Oh yes, that's true. That's how elections work.
They are quite widespread. I should say, in fact, that I have predominantly known them as a force at sea. Pirates, predominantly. They have, as of late, taken to organizing prior rabble into a kind of more cohesive threat. It's my misfortune to say that their recruitment efforts have been quite successful. Although there have been some notable efforts to belay them and fight them off. Some of the Aberforth family, those of the neighboring province, have made headway to that effect. One and hath great acclaim earned as a result, and so elevated herself. These things I hear secondhand through rumors. They are an ever-present and looming danger. I have some help against my person being espied through magical means. And you see she begins to palm a necklace that she's wearing with a small silver eye on it. We are not without our connections. But well, I'm open to suggestion. I think perhaps very open as of late to suggestion. She looks at you, Raph. But I know that you did say you wished not to take sail. And mayhap the sea is not the best option, but it is certainly wide open. And Alda can swim there, out of sight.
If we do leave, then we leave this place open for attack. Aye?
Aye.
And Celine's portal be above us?
We can scratch that out.
I'm not certain how such magics work.
Neither I. I suppose the thing is, if we do stay here and we prepare for battle, we know not how many they will choose or how often they will return. If they've got unlimited resources, then we could just be here in a situation where we let their corpses pile high, but
So we chop them off at the head. Is that what you...
If we know what the head looks like, but does the wind have a head? It seems to me that they blow ever invisible.
Why, not entirely. Avery has been of some assistance to me in this regard since Alda's birth. We have some headway made discovering agents of the Four Winds in this area and further up the river into Orst even. Bertram can speak more to this than I, perhaps. He hath facilitated something of a network of whispers, a train of information moving through the lookout below. We have good leads on a number of persons we believe to be compromised. It could be that they could hold further information.
Perhaps some of us can leave this cave and the rest of us can stay here and defend it.
What is there to defend, though? I mean...
Have we taken all that we need from this cave, or all that is valuable or precious? What is there to protect here anymore? Besides memories.
Sometimes memories are all you have.
Then we shall take them with us.
I would go hunting spies. That sounds mighty fun indeed.
So, what is our official plan? We sneak Veila out of here and try to gain information from compromised members of the Four Winds. About what?
Thou hast allies nearby, as thou hast mentioned. Perhaps not clearly allies, but at least allied and against the Four Winds. Perhaps there is a good starting point. You may find help protect thee, and we can do the next part of the plan.
And I also do leave Veila, that it may be in your interest to beat your uncle to the punch. If he is in power for too long, it would be very hard to take it back.
What mean you precisely by this, Caliban? What do you advise?
Well, if I was you, I would leave us as your agents to take on the task of trying to defeat the Four Winds and all that they do stand for, whilst you do take care of matters of home, because it's not just you, it's the people of your thaindom that you need to think about as well, Nay.
But Caliban, she's the last remaining blood heir of Aliva, and without her alive, we cannot bring her back. And if she can't come back, then there will be no challenge against Lord Moonfang.
I must say, Caliban, my heart fires to hear your words, and I am in sympathy with thee. I would take what is mine. I have hidden so long. I know not if any of you know this. The frustration of knowing your gifts are unused. To feel chained by some ill shackle of destiny into inaction. 'Tis to live as stone. But we can take action in either course. Either in secret, if I am assisting you in your endeavors in some way, or I stand in the light of scrutiny and take what is rightfully mine. I must confess, though the weight of the news doth oppress me still, I am relieved. Sir Buckle, what was it you were to say?
From the way you have phrased the question, it seems you have made the decision yourself. And it is a decision that thou shouldst make, not any of us.
Perhaps you are right. Good Buckle, I have made nearly every decision for myself for 10 years. It is nice to ask for advice. I believe that Bertram and I have things to discuss. To oversee my safe transferal to the Donville estate. I do believe it is a thing we can manage. Networks as we know them. I am equipped to travel in secrecy, as I believe you are now, Avery. And perhaps another of your number, if I do espy correctly. Which of you took the glamored studded leather? It was Rav, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bertram sort of nods at Rav's like, oh, certainly. And fine handiwork at that, if I am to judge. Then perhaps the next move is to see me thither installed. The residence is not far from hither. If you are willing to be as my lighter, deadlier left hand in this, then mayhap I should ask for the pleasure of your company to my estate, and from thither we can have a sort of conveyance point. And such intelligences as I can offer once I am thither installed safely, well, that information will be yours. And whatever you can gather and so do and surmise, return to us, and we shall see what we can do.
Yes, 1,000 times yes.
Well, If it is possible to find lightness in the deepest weight of sorrow, you have given it to me. I think
You're welcome.
not else, but we have some light in our tomorrow.
Just thinking about tomorrow.
Now he's looking again.
Yeah.
I think, given that it is 10:15, that might be a good place for us to break for today. That
Yeah, should we
seems
just have a
okay.
long rest? Just have a long rest?
Yeah,
Just on the
you
floor.
certainly can if you'd like to in the golden cave.
Yeah.
Before Rav settles down for a long rest, he's going to
Yeah.
use sending.
Sure is. Is the message that we discussed last session?
Yeah,
that right?
I'll read it aloud.
Okay, good.
Are we still in the cave?
Yes, unless you choose to leave it.
Okay, I guess Rav wanders off to a corner of the cave.
Mm-hmm.
And he casts sending to Yori Swift Whistle.
Okay.
And he says, "Whistle swift, beat quicker still. A mage truly when vanishing is thy will. But some truths thou canst not flee, and broken hearts make for burdensome debris." By the way, how are you? No, I'm kidding. Not enough words for the how are you.
First of all, Rav, for next session, please take a mode of Bardic Inspiration. Rhyming sending spell, for sure. A moment passes, Rav, and you hear a voice inside your mind, responding
Yes,
to your
This
message.
whole time?
You hear Yori's voice in your mind. Broken hearts is a bit rich. Think on thy behavior, Ravelor. Thou dost play with hearts and leave them broken in thy wake far more often than I.
Didn't even rhyme.
Yori's not
By
large.
the way, how are you?
At this, Rav is angry and he throws his dead fish down. But then he kind of smiles to himself and goes, "She likes me." And he walks off.
Nice.
Fades out with the credits coming down.
Those of you who have those new items, Avery, are you holding on to that sword?
Yeah, but anyone can use it whenever.
Okay, well, they both require attunement. So if whoever is holding on to them, you'll find out more about them after about an hour of sort of chilling with them, and about what they do and what they're for. Those you should have the item in your inventory now, so you can have a look at what each of them does. It's a good time for us to go ahead and thank some folks. First, I would like to extend a thank you to Eric Matthias, whose music you can hear in the background on stream, and you can find out more of his work on soundimage.org. Thanks as well.
Little Mermaid.
They wrote The Little Mermaid.
No, that's an original John Mark.
I wrote The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, precisely. You were Alan Menken. Big reveal. Thanks as well to Matt Day, who we shouted out before, for creating Rollcast, this awesome streaming platform we get to play on and roll dice on. Thank you to all of you who have been watching live, and those of you who watch later in the week on our YouTube channel, Bardic Inspiration. You can find out more at Twitter, following Bardic_inspo, as well on TikTok. And you can find the stat blocks that we created for Mercutio most recently, and now the winner of our most recent Twitter poll, getting 69% of the vote, nice, was Puck. So we'll have a Shakespeare stat block made for Puck, that merry wanderer of the night. And so stay tuned for that. Follow us for more and to vote in our future polls when we make some Shakespeare stat blocks. Thank you to you, the players, for mucking in for a fun session. And we'll close as ever, once I get myself situated, as we always do, by saying thanks, and more thanks. Have a good night.